Good evening, you are in our circle. Today we discuss the issue of youth unemployment in Macedonia. Young people from the smaller cities are increasingly coming to the capital in pursuit of a better education and a more comfortable life. Some of them, though, chose to leave the country altogether. This obviously poses a social problem. Is the society capable of coping with it? Later on in our program, we ask, are young people in this country willing to do voluntary work? I am Biljana Everett. Stay with me and find out. Going to college can be a stressful endeavor, especially if you're coming from one of the Macedonia's smaller cities, coming to the country's capital. The capital city, Skopje, is often perceived as a dream target. Increasing number of young people migrate here, finish college, and then seek a job opportunity, a getaway from a life in small communities with only few opportunities. But in Skopje too they face disappointment. This poses a problem, as the capital is becoming overcrowded and the other cities are being abandoned. How is this affecting our society, and why is it happening? One of the ways to avoid this trend is the so-called dispersed studies, a governmental program which allows for students to study closer to the place of their birth. Petar Klinčarski has this report.
Is Skopje becoming an American dream for students from the other parts in the country who see their chance in a big city as a way out from the hopelessness? Will life for them be better right here in the capital? The opening of the dispersed studies in some towns throughout Macedonia, which allows students to study in their hometowns, increased the chances of getting a diploma. However, the tradition of student migration in Skopje continues. The debate now is whether the dispersed studies offer the same quality of education and whether the acquired diploma is at the same level as the one from the University St. Cyril Methodius or from the private faculties. Until now, some dispersed studies in the smaller cities in the eastern and western Macedonia did not bring the wanted result. Angelina Taneva is a professor at Phone University. She explains that it's necessary to open more dispersed studies not only at the state universities but also at the private ones. The aim is to attract and keep the students in their hometowns and in that way ease the growing concentration in the capital.
Not everyone wants to come in the big city. There is also a resistance because of the overpopulation, and some people don't manage to deal with it, although the possibilities in the cities are bigger. In the towns, possibilities are smaller. There are more jobs closing than opening.
So where can students find a job after graduation when only the capital offers better possibilities? The statistical data shows that businessmen from Skopje and their companies have more profit than the total revenue of the other towns combined. But what is the point of opening dispersed studies, and which is the way to revival of the towns where there are no new job openings? Neda Korunkovska, a representative from the NGO Reactor, blames the government because it has not brought an appropriate solution for the uncontrolled overpopulation of Skopje. Korunkovska argues that the stay of the students from the other parts of the country is not financially regulated. The young people, she says, are living and working in Skopje, but their personal tax is being paid in their hometowns. This increased problems to the civil authorities in Skopje. They don't receive the money they deserve.
If you don't have an appropriate regional development, which is planned by the country, with the specific subsidies in order to develop the specific region, you can't expect people to consciously live in misery and poverty. Nowadays, your social network helps you more in finding employment than your diploma and education. It's a big problem for the economic development of the country, economic, demographic, urban development. The problem is not only in leaving the other towns, but the congestion of Skopje. This rapid, uncontrolled and urban development of Skopje will bring negative results over the standard and quality of living, which provides decent conditions for everybody here.
Elena Rizanska, who was born and has been living in Skopje all her life, says that the capital has been overpopulated for many years and she is accustomed to the crowd of the migrants.
I am for dispersed studies. It's good to have solid faculties there, and in that way the provinces, villages and the small towns will revive.
Anita Burovska is from the eastern Macedonian town of Berov. She is the best student of the State Faculty of Economics for this year with average 10. Burovska explained that the young people are migrant workers in their own country looking for more comfortable existence.
Staying in inland of Macedonia and being employed in some other town like Berovo, where I should return, it's my last option.
On the Day of Macedonian Students, the 11th of December, a survey was presented which shows that 60% of the young people want to build their career in Macedonia. This social problem is a challenge with which Macedonian authorities need to face, and on the other side, leaving Macedonia by 40% of young people further deepens the problem.
You are listening to Our Circle, produced by the students of Macedonian School of Journalism. And what happens to those who experience a problem with unemployment or who cannot manage to stay in the capital? There are probably not many options, as their disposal in a county with a rate of unemployment of 1/3 of the potential workforce. The Macedonian government claims that it works on improving the situation with the unemployment. Still, many of these young people decide to leave the country altogether. This, despite the fact that most of the countries they go to are affected by the recent economic crisis. Maria Hadžistojanova explored this problem from various angles.
The number of young people and intellectuals leaving Macedonia grows larger every year. Many of these young people believe that their skills would be much more appreciated outside the country, and many of them blame the institutions for not doing anything to stop this trend, which has been an issue of debate ever since Macedonia gained its independence in the early 90s. Young people are complaining that for many years now the only way to be employed is to be a member of a ruling party, regardless of which party holds the government.
Едва и чекав да се вратам, за да работам во мојата земја, откако го завршив факултетот, аплицирав на многу.
I couldn't wait to go back and work in my home country. After I graduated from university, I sent applications to many different firms, but every time I received the same answer that I wasn't needed there. Mostly it was because I was not a member of any political party. I'm very disappointed, so I planned my future in Vienna.
Boban graduated at the University of Informatics TUF in Vienna 2 years ago. He is one of many young people who are planning to leave their country because they do not see a future for themselves here. As a Bitola State University professor, Dimitar Evtimovski argues Macedonia is paying a high price for the brain drain.
Платата представува некое мерило за вредноста на човечкиот капитал, кој што е напушта наша.
The pay represents a measurement of how much each person is worth who leaves our economy. Roughly 1,900,000,000 euros are lost yearly from unemployment. When we will know the right amount of people who leave our country with different types of university degrees, when our government finds the amount, we will be able to calculate how much money our country is losing yearly just from the loss of educated citizens.
The most common reason why young people leave the country is money.
Ние да отидеме онаму кај што е развиено и тогаш таму ќе успееме, а овде нема да успееме.
Stanislav Petkovski, a Bitola-based psychiatrist, argues that young people are often taught to lie to themselves and think that the rest of the world is perfect.
Отидеме онаму кај што е развиено и тогаш таму ќе успееме, а овде нема да успееме.
Let's all go to some place that is already developed and then we will achieve something because here we cannot. If Pero is not successful in Macedonia, Pero will not be successful in New Zealand.
So is there any idea or two to change this overreaching perception? Marian Zbarčanec, the director of the local NGO Youth Educational Forum, proposes radical growth in scholarship funding, priority for employment of young people, and appreciation of their achievements.
Младите средношколци за Македонија, 70% од нив не веруваат ни на локалните ни на државните власти.
70% of young middle schoolers in Macedonia don't trust neither the local nor the government authorities. They believe that the country is controlled by a small group of political figures who only care about themselves and believe that the government does not work to help young people achieve something.
So far, the government has put forth only one project to stop the drain of young educated people. According to that project, people with degrees from the top 10 universities outside of Macedonia will be offered an extra 30% pay in their first employment during the first 3 working years in Macedonia. Sociologist Vesna Spasovska argues that this is barely enough.
This situation can bring our society to collapse, because our society requires all sorts of stuff. Because if we are really patriots, we must be patriots for our own country, because once you leave, you will never come back. Money manipulates everyone.
Many here would argue that this is not patriotism which is decisive over where young people choose to build their future. It is rather their guess for a good life, something which a lot of them believe is elsewhere.
You are in our circle. So, it is a fact that many young people of Macedonia want to leave this place and seek for opportunities elsewhere. But what about the ones that stay here? Are they motivated to take actions and make their social environments a better place to live in? The European Union proclaimed last year a year of volunteering. Jasna Atanasova reveals that even though it is widely believed that this kind of activism is not particularly interesting for the youth in this country, there are still those who believe in helping others and not expecting anything in return.
What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway.
Words of a poem written by Mother Teresa.
Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway.
A humanitarian and a Nobel Peace Prize winner who dedicated her whole life to charity. She was born in Skopje in what is today Republic of Macedonia. 2011, the year of volunteering, has ended. In that occasion, I asked, are the people of this country motivated to help for the well-being and development of the society? There's a lack of interest in volunteering because there's no payment. At the State Institute for Statistics, there's no number of evidence regarding volunteerism. In the Directory of Macedonia, there are 383 contact numbers of NGOs of all kinds, but more than half don't work anymore. There are around 15 active charity NGOs, and these are signs that there are people interested in volunteering. Anastasia Dimitrova is a student at the Faculty for Agriculture. She volunteered in the NGO Youth Initiative and has been doing voluntary work for the local SOS Children's Village, where people help orphans learn better and faster.
In SOS Children Village, we were around 20 volunteers. We were rotating. I wanted to volunteer there because I was aware of the situation, so I thought that I could help them make better scores in life. Also, that was a good way for me to fill my free time.
I went to the headquarters of the Macedonia Red Cross, a part of the global humanitarian organization which has the largest net of volunteers in the country. At the meeting with Alexandra Volkanovska, coordinator for the youngsters of Red Cross of Skopje, she said that the volunteers provide the main pillar of the organization. The youth club of the Red Cross has around 50 active volunteers.
Here, I would also mention the Nursery for Volunteers for motivating volunteers, because through this program, volunteers gain knowledge for the Red Cross. They also go through training for making and documenting small projects.
There are young people from Macedonia who also participate in programs for voluntary work around Europe. Majda Todorovska is a student at the Faculty for Philology in Skopje. She volunteered for 1 month this summer on an island which belongs to the city of Marseille in the south of France. She found out about this opportunity on the internet.
I think volunteerism is functioning. Young people are enthusiastic. You can feel the spirit of the youth. There are people who would volunteer, but the conditions are not good, and there is no support from the authorities. The ideas are good, but the programs are poor. It is so because volunteerism is just a seed in our country that will blossom.
So, what is the opinion of the authorities? Here's what the Minister of Labor, Spiro Ristevski, had said on the occasion of the 5th December, the Day of Volunteering.
I would like to answer the question, why volunteer and who has the benefit? The answer is, because volunteers and volunteering in every country represent a huge human potential.
No matter what is said by the authorities, in order volunteerism to blossom, volunteers must have the initiative. They know that the nurturing depends mostly on their own motivation and effort.
You have been listening to our circle. If you want to find out more about the students' activities, visit our school website at www.vs.edu.mk. This program was produced with the technical support of our fellow student Marko Petrevski. Until next time, goodbye.